topics to talk about. And we're going to transition from the future of sports media to celebrity philanthropy, which is a topic that's very interesting and it's multi-pronged in my opinion, because there's a lot of things to unpack here. But I'm going to try to do the best that I can. Of course, drinking a little bit of coffee because it's still early in the morning. Because here's the thing. There are a lot of celebrities out there that actually do the work. Proverb that are like, actions can speak louder than words. And now social media used to be technology, but now it's like social media is equated to words. The black square, for example, during Black Lives Matter, you post a black square. Oh, he's anti-BLM. Wow. Cool. Does that do anything? Does it do anything? You can post a picture of the Ukrainian flag and say, stop war. Does it do anything in the grand scheme of things? Did you really do anything? Did you do anything? No, you didn't. But here's the thing. I feel like people in our generation just kind of move on to the next topic of conversation because people admit things. They're like, oh, it's wrong. And then they're like, here's some things that we can do to help, and then move on because there's always tragic stuff going on in the world. And this can't happen. This frankly cannot happen. I feel like no one is checking into the intricate details of where the money is flowing, right? Where these posts, what these posts are actually doing in the grand scheme of all of this. It's funny. Mila Kunis donated like $3 million. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher donated or matched like $3 million and started a GoFundMe that raised about $30 million for funding in Russia and Ukraine. And I was like, that's awesome. That's great, right? That's a lot of money that can make an actual impact there. But where is the $30 million going? And so I did a little bit more research, really try to unpack what was going on here. And I found out that the CEO and the founder of Airbnb, Brian Chesky, was going to give housing and places to stay for people fleeing the country. So that's cool. He was going to pay all the hosts and give Ukrainian refugees a place to stay. Fantastic. Okay, but what about the other money? $30 million is a lot of money. You can buy a lot of stuff. So then they directed me to this company called Flexport. And Flexport has a really vague mission as to what they're doing in Ukraine. Listen, I'm not saying that they're not doing work. It's just very vague. They're like, we're providing humanitarian aid to people in need. AKA, what does that mean, bro? That's just the most vague sentence of all time. I don't know. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's just me like digging into the issue a little bit, but I wish there was some more accountability and some more transparency when it came to celebrities and where the money was going, rather than me having to dig for it, and rather than the initial headline being the biggest thing, right? I would love it if it was like Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher are donating $30 million to Flexport to provide specifically food and water, or like not even food and water, but like specifically this, that, and the other for these Ukrainian refugees. Then I'd be like, okay, I know where the money's going. And this isn't to attack Mila Kunis or Ashton Kutcher. I'm sure they're great people who are doing an amazing thing, because donating $3 million is a lot, even for a celebrity. So shout out to them. But look, we'll transition. We'll put celebrities on the back burner for a second, because I want to talk about billionaires, because billionaires give a lot of their money away, right? We saw this. We see this all the time. There's the Gates Foundation. The Bezoses have their own foundation. Well, now they're divorced, so I'm pretty sure they both have their own individual foundation. I'm sure Elon Musk has his. I haven't looked into it. But the one I want to focus on in particular is the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. Okay, I'm not saying, and the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative is more of a nonprofit than it is a foundation, so it's not purely charitable. But let's dig into some of the philanthropy and see if it's actually benefiting people, right? So I dug in a little bit into the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, and I was trying to see like what was going on. And there's been a lot of controversy with this initiative, because there have actually been employees that have gone to Mark Zuckerberg's face and straight up said that he should resign from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative because he is being a hypocrite with his actions over at Facebook, with what's going on over there. There's just not a lot of good stuff. And he also has this initiative on the side, which he claims is a completely separate company, where he's basically doing the goals to counteract what he's doing. Throughout time, billionaires and really the richest people in the world in general, have tended to use these charities to have tremendous tax breaks and to actually point out the quote unquote work that's being done, right? And a lot of these organizations that billionaires own, I'm not targeting any billionaires in particular, but there's a lot of organizations that billionaires own that have a lot of vague mission statements, right? The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative is their main statement is basically saying we are trying to come up with tech-infused solutions to end disease. Tech-infused solutions to end disease. There are like 18 million different diseases out there, bro. Well, how are you going to do this? There's no plan of action. There's no real thing. This is their mission statement. And so, yeah, it seems amazing on the surface. And there are a lot of surface level clickbaity people who are like, yes, Chan Zuckerberg, let's go. He's doing good work. But like, what is happening? What is actually happening? Like, are we digging beyond just the mission statement? Are we critically thinking about this? Because, listen, there's a lot of good causes that these initiatives support. I'm not doubting that. I'm not saying it's wrong to do charitable work. It's good to do it. But where I'm going with it is what exactly is getting done? What is the shit that's getting done here? And there's been, like I said, there's also been many reports on Chan Zuckerberg's initiative that they basically they try not to get political, and they basically use Chan Zuckerberg's initiative to cover their ass for what Facebook has been doing the last 5 years and how unpopular that they've been in the media. That's been a lot of hypotheses as to why this was formed, because this initiative was actually formed, I think, back in 2016. So, like, right at the height of Facebook's unpopularity. And in addition, on their website, I found this to be kind of hypocritical. Chan Zuckerberg's initiative is trying to promote racial equity within education, which is a great cause. But the problem is there's a lot of conflicting actions coming over there from one of their founders, Mark Zuckerberg, with what he's doing with Facebook, because it took him till the very last second to censor Donald Trump. He continues to leave a lot of racial hate groups up on Facebook so they can meet there and congregate and all of these things. So I don't know. I personally have no idea, right? It's not just Zuckerberg and the billionaires, though, right? Let's bring it back to the celebrities, because we're talking about celebrity philanthropy for a second. And celebrities are just making foundations left and right, like their dinner reservations. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They're like, I'll take the 8, the 8:30, and the 9, right? It's like, 3 foundations. I mean, with the success and the name value that celebrities have, I'm sure starting a foundation for them is like it's just more light work, because they already have attorneys. So the attorneys just fill out a little more nonprofit paperwork, and then boom, you got your own nonprofit. I'm sure it's harder than that, but the point is, for celebrities, I don't think it's that hard. I mean, shit, Anna Delvey pulled this off. Anybody who's watched Inventing Anna, you saw a scam artist just pull off building up a foundation. If she can do it, I mean, for celebrities who actually have the legal capital, it's probably hella easy. But here's the thing. Celebrities have done this for name brand a lot of the time, right? I was doing the research, and I found a few people that have kind of done this for main brand for the most part, and not really other reasons rather than the work, right? So let's take a look at Tyra Banks for a second. She's got this thing called the Tie Zone Foundation. I looked into her documents a little bit, particularly from the past. So like 2008, 2009, she was giving out $35,000 in salaries. Fine. But how much was she actually giving out, Anuj? She only gave out $32,000. So basically, she was paying the people of her nonprofit more than the money she was actually giving out, which means that that's a little suspect. That being said, a representative did come on the record and say it was a tax mistake and that they made a mistake on the tax form or something. But the only charity grading site that I could find was called Charity Navigator. And they basically said that she's like a failing charity. Like, you should not donate to this charity. It's a little suspect. So don't donate to the Tyra Banks Foundation if you guys want to. Please, no. And then you got Justin Timberlake, okay? And I love JT as much as the next guy, right? It's like I'm stuck in a mirror. I love that. Justin Timberlake spent $146,000 on operating expenses, which included travel and other services. Fine, Anuj, but how much did he give out? How much money did Justin Timberlake give out? He only distributed $32,000 of that money. And listen, this was like way back. This was like 2008, 2009, 2010. So he could have very well turned it around. I have no idea. But most of it went to another foundation called the Jane Goodall Foundation. And so basically he distributed $32,000, but it went to another foundation rather than him actually doing some work, which was kind of suspect in itself. And point goes to show that celebrities kind of set up these one-stop shop foundations to show their image is like, great, and we're good people. But of course, there are a lot of good people who do good, but they don't get the credit. I mean, it's kind of funny, but these celebrities are just setting these foundations up because it makes them look better and it gives them a good PR image. And here's the thing, here's the kicker to all this. A lot of celebrities don't even put their own money into foundations. Which is not uncommon. They actually just crowdfund capital at this point, or they have different ways of getting the money. And I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard about Brad Pitt, but I'm going to go through this real quick. There's a whole story with Brad Pitt and what he did with his Make It Right Foundation. But basically, his goal was to start the Make It Right Foundation to help housing in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, and basically like build up neighborhoods that needed the help. And so he did that, and they did a good job. They built about 100 houses, but it basically came to again, by the mainstream media, basically found out that recently there's only about 6 of those houses that are actually like feasible. Most of them have like rotting wood, the foundation's wrong, the houses are basically falling apart. And so many of these residents are basically paying for repairs out of their pockets, which is crazy because they thought they were getting this nice charitable gift from Brad Pitt and they were getting this revived neighborhood. But in reality, they just went back to square one because you're paying for all the repair costs. The house is falling apart. A lot of residents have had to move out. So it's turned into this huge disaster. Yeah. And here's the thing I would like to see, right? Because let's come to a solution to all this. Celebrity philanthropy. What's the solution here for us, the consumer, for the people who give to these people? Here's the thing. In my little bit of research, I found it incredibly difficult to find a way to see which charities were accountable, which charities were actually doing the work. And so what I realized is that, we need to find a better way to get the information across. And it's difficult to tell if a charity is legitimate or not, even for the consumer, or a consumer that shouldn't give the money to the charity. And so we need to come up with a better way to keep these charities accountable rather than just let them look good and us giving them money when in reality it's going to their operating expenses, right? Because I don't want that. I want the philanthropy to actually go to the philanthropy, if that makes sense. So let's try and push the needle forward in regards to celebrity philanthropy and all of these things. Just my opinion, but whatever. But let's transition back.